This is CapCan Knows, the official podcast of the Capital Area College Access Network. We are excited to engage the community in conversations about college access. I'm your host, Jack Felinski, an AmeriCorps Vista serving with CapCan. Joining me today is Sarah Machniak, the coordinator of community outreach and student enrichment at Michigan State University's Veterinary Nursing Program, and Fatima and Kendra, MSU veterinary nursing students. Let's get started. First of all, thank you so much for being with us here today, Sarah, Kendra, and Fatima.
Thank you for having.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we usually begin with a personal story from our guests about who encouraged them to continue their education beyond high school. So, who encouraged you to pursue a post-secondary education, and what were your thoughts about doing so?
Who wants to start?
I can start first. Hi, guys. Hi, I'm Kendra Cornia. I'm a first year at MSU, or this is my fourth year at MSU, but I'm a first year vet nursing student. When it comes to pursuing higher education, really it was my mom that encouraged me to do that. I'm a first gen college student, so my mom just really wanted, better opportunities for me. I come from a small town in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, so she really just pushed me to try to get out of small town and try to do something that I really wanted to do, and that was veterinary medicine.
Awesome.
Hey everyone, so I'm Fatima. This is my first year at MSU, and I'm a first year veterinary nursing student. My parents always encouraged education, but I think for me, like my sister was a really big role model because she was a first generation college student, and especially because she pursued like a medical career. So a lot of the experiences that she shared with me, I felt like I really wanted to experience that and like feel like I was making a change in that aspect.
Sure. You can jump in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess for me, there was never a time where like college wasn't an option. It was just like the next step. You graduated high school and you went to college. So I guess everyone around me was fantastic support. My family, my friends, and definitely people at my high school absolutely paved the way for that.
For sure, definitely. So jumping into veterinary nursing, what is it and how did you find out about it? And can you kind of talk about each of your journeys to pursue veterinary nursing?
So I can start. For me, veterinary nursing is really focusing on animal care and well-being, and they're very, very important in part of like the veterinary staff and the team. And they have so many different responsibilities like supportive care, client education, and client communication. And for me, I found out about the program because I kind of always knew I wanted to come to Michigan State because their veterinary programs are just amazing. But I think for a long time, I thought my only option was just to be a veterinarian until I started to explore the majors. And I saw that they had a veterinary nursing major and I read about it and like the differences that I saw between that and pre-vet, like I just connected to that way more. And then how I decided to pursue the career, I think it was definitely when my cat got sick for the first time. I think like helping administer the medication, just like overall caring for him and like feeding him through his feeding tube and like providing that animal care. It was kind of my first exposure to like, this is when I need to prioritize like my own feelings versus his quality of life. So I think that was my first exposure to that. And then I remember like that process and just thinking like I wanted to help someone get through that and then also help the animal with that care in the future.
Awesome. How about
Yeah,
you,
that's
Kendra?
awesome, Fatima. Yeah, my story for getting into vet nursing is pretty similar to Fatima's. When I first, decided what I wanted to do with my life, I had no idea. I had a lot of misconceptions as to what vet nursing was. When I would have to take my pets to the vet when I was younger, I just thought vet techs or vet nurses, I thought it was just lab work. I honestly, that's all I thought it was. I had a lot of misconceptions. I didn't realize that you could do physical exams. I didn't realize that there was a lot of surgical care involved and like post-op care. It wasn't until I started shadowing at a clinic that I finally really got a hold of what the differences were and that I really connected with those vet nurses that I worked with and shadowed on. So that's what really made me pursue it as a career.
Cool. And yeah, feel free to go ahead, Sarah, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that, Kendra and Fatima's stories are not abnormal. Most people, when they are younger, go to the vet or think of animal care and they automatically think of a veterinarian or a doctor of veterinary medicine. That is super common. And, same with me. And I'd say pretty much anyone that's in the program currently and or any of the teachers, again, thought that the path to being in working with animals was a vet, and that is just not true. There is several other different career options, and so we tend to think of the doctors as kind of like the thinkers and the puzzle solvers and stuff, whereas the veterinary nurses are the caregivers and they are the hands-on, and they're the ones that are talking with the clients, like Fatima said, and they're the front-facing people, because the doctors are often seeing several different cases at once, whereas your vet nurse is like got 100% of their attention and everything. So, like I said, there's a lot of people that just didn't know that vet nursing exists. So that's one of the reasons I'm here, is I'm here to spread the word and to kind of talk to people to be like, you don't have to go to 8 years plus of school just to work with animals. Here's another option. It's a bachelor's degree, and you get to be way more hands-on. So I think that once we start making it more of a known option, then we'll definitely start to see a lot more people that are like, yes, this is exactly what I want. Of course, our veterinarians are very, very important. We obviously need them and they need us. But like I said, the story is not too uncommon.
For sure, for sure. And kind of going off that here, talking about the difference between a veterinary nursing program and a veterinary program. What's the veterinary nursing program been like for you guys?
I can start. The program has been obviously it's been super busy. It was a lot to get into at first because we had anatomy courses, we had physiology courses, and now starting our second semester, we're actually doing a little bit more hands-on nursing skills courses. Like we practice placing urinary catheters, we practice doing blood draws. So it's a lot more hands-on stuff right now. Obviously, there's a lot of textbook and a lot of lecture with it, but right now they're just preparing us the best that we can do for like national board exams. And I think that's something that this program does really, really well.
We have a 98% pass rate on our national board exam,
Wow,
pretty much unmatched by any other university. So it's pretty exciting.
that is exciting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kendra. I think at first it's definitely a very rigorous program in the best way, but when you come in, it's a lot at once. But I mean, it's a very welcoming atmosphere. I think from the beginning, like they really encourage questions and just like learning and being open to different experiences. Because I know everybody comes into the program with different experience levels and like just what you know, and so like they really encourage you to just try your best and always be ready for that. And all the information really ties in together. So everything we learned in the first semester, we're kind of getting to apply all of that now, just hands-on skills.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Gotcha.
I'd really emphasize what Fatima said because at first I was really nervous coming into the program because I thought, oh well, I don't know if I have nearly as much experience as X, Y, and Z, or oh, I've never done that before. But some of our classmates haven't even put hands on an animal before; they've only shadowed. But all of our instructors and all of our staff has just been super encouraging and reaffirming that no, you were meant to be here. We all start somewhere, and you're all gonna end up at the same spot.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, everything we teach in the program is like what they need to know. So we're not teaching you guys anything that's extraneous or we train the best of the best, and so that starts at the facts level, like the anatomy and the physiology. So, like Fatima said, it all builds on each other. So it's intense, but it's good because you know everything that you absolutely need to know.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Fatima, since you're a first year student, this question is going to be for you. But going into the program, before, during, and where you're at now, what were you feeling? Were you anxious? Were you nervous? And how are you feeling now after taking a few courses?
Yeah, I was definitely really, really nervous, especially because like we were talking about before, experience levels, like coming in and like hearing people's like what they've been doing and like feeling like you won't be as good at it or you're just starting off, with less skills than everybody else. But I feel like once, a couple of weeks start to pass by and like I realized like we're all starting at the same place no matter what. Like just because you have more experience doesn't mean like you're gonna be way ahead. Like we're all starting with the same information and we're all working together, and it's very much like a team dynamic. We're not competing with each other. We're all just helping each other learn, and like I think that made me feel a lot better in the beginning, and now like this semester has been going a lot better, I think, and I've really adjusted.
Good, good. What made you all choose Michigan State University?
Ooh, I feel like as soon as I started talking about wanting to go into a career in veterinary medicine, everyone immediately was saying Michigan State, Michigan State. Michigan State's the place to be if you want a career in veterinary medicine. Um, so I honestly didn't even really think about out of state, not just because of tuition costs, but just because I just knew that Michigan State was one of the best of the best. So that's why I chose it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I definitely have like the same exact experience with that. That's the one thing that you'll always hear. But I also just think like, especially the veterinary nursing program, I don't really think there's a lot of programs that can compare to the experiences that we're getting here and just the support. And it's just, honestly, it's a great experience to go into veterinary nursing at Michigan State.
Yeah, and Sarah, you can correct me on this, but I just don't think that there's a lot of vet nursing programs, but just veterinary colleges in general that have a clinic that's attached to it. So a lot of people don't get that opportunity to, see it or just like, work in that clinic and do their clerkships like there at the college. So I think that's another unique opportunity that Michigan State offers.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. A lot of programs are what is called like a technical school. So you either come out of it with like a certificate or an associate's degree, which of course is, they're more than qualified, but often they do what's called their clerkships. So basically you're practicing all of the things that you were taught. They often do those in a veterinary hospital, whether it's like a small practice or a mixed practice or something. So you're kind of learning what they do. Whereas kind of like Kendra said, Michigan State, start day one with educators that are part of Michigan State, and often you will see, technicians and veterinary nurses that work with them during class, and then you guys will see them again on the floor. We have two of those, so you kind of it's that familiarity and that relationship you're building during the 2 years in the classroom. And then when you go down to the hospital, you've already been here, you kind of know who to ask and where to go. So that's a good point. And also Michigan State is one of the few schools that offers the bachelor's degree in veterinary nursing. I think there's only 3 other schools in the whole nation that do. Where, like I said, the others have like an associate or a certificate. We also do have a certificate option. But I do encourage that first degree students do the bachelor's degree, just because you never know where life's going to take you. And then you have that next step up of if you wanted to work in something outside of a practice, pharmaceutical sales, working in research, working in government. Often they do require a bachelor's degree in something, but a bachelor's degree. And so having that bachelor's degree in vet nursing just opens more doors.
For sure. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like with the clinic being at MSU, there's a lot of good pathways toward once you do graduate. You kind of have an idea as to, oh, I might have this opportunity for me locally. Is that kind of how I'm understanding it?
Yeah, several of our students do end up working in the hospital afterwards. And we also have several different departments, whether it be intensive care unit, radiology, anesthesia, large animal, surgery. So you really do get kind of like those specialized areas where you can really get good experience. And then some people, decide that they fall in love with a certain pathway and they end up staying and we keep them. And we know we already like them because we raised them, so we already know we like them.
For sure. And to kind of touch on that a bit, so we were talking about the pathways there, but what other resources does the MSU vet nursing program or just MSU in general offer to students while they're in the MSU veterinary nursing program?
Go ahead. You guys can go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, I know recently we had a meeting about like library resources and what's available to us to like begin studying for a board exam. So like a lot of research and like just different things we can look at. And I was just gonna say Sarah's also like really, really good at like connecting us to different things and introducing us to that.
Yeah, I think it's also nice that we have within the college, there's like a student room where like we can go there, we can study together. Vet nursing students, we also have our own room within the college where we have like specimens that we can look at. We have textbooks that we can borrow. So I think those are other resources that are super helpful for students.
Kendra, you didn't mention my big coloring page I put down there for you guys to
Of
de-stress.
course. I say Katie's been rocking on that.
Yeah. So I did make like an area to remind them that they're also human and they're allowed to take a break and you're not just a studying machine. So we've got games and puzzles and Play-Doh
Yoga
and
mats.
yoga mats for napping or yoga, whatever. I've seen them used for mostly napping, but that's fine. But yeah, I often tell people when they are considering Michigan State, like we are a smaller program, right now we're capped at 40 students per year, but we are looking to grow. And we all know each other's names, a little bit about each other. We all look out for each other. We joke that our administrative assistant, Jeannie, is like our mom. If somebody doesn't show up, she will, knock down their door and be like, where are you? And why aren't you here? Are you okay? But we have the amenities of a big university. We have an access to all the fantastic resources that MSU has to offer, whether it be, all the fantastic student clubs and groups, of course, all of the sports
Psychiatrics
events.
services.
Yeah, like just I can't even think because there's just so many. But of
Right.
course, like our counseling and psychiatric services, like Olin Health Center, like we still have access to all those things.
Gotcha. Yeah. And from what I'm hearing from everyone, it sounds like it's a very collaborative environment where you get to work with each other and help each other out. Would you be able to speak on that?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely don't think like we could do what we're doing alone. Like it's definitely not something that you can do by yourself. I mean, even whether it's just like a study group or like talking to each other about things, and even in labs, we need each other to like get certain skills done. It's just, and I think that really does prepare us for our careers because it's a team and like you need to work with so many different people. And so just that collaboration has been, I think, really helpful, not even just with learning, but also just being able to talk about things with each other. Like if we feel stressed, like knowing that everybody else is feeling what we're feeling, like we're not going through it alone.
Yeah, agree, Fatima. I think going into this program, I'm like a super introverted person. I think a lot of people in vet med are. But going into this, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like talk to a lot of people, but instantly I connected with almost every single person in that room. Um, whether it's just like getting daily affirmations like, oh my God, I'm struggling with this exam, and everyone's like, me too, me too. Um, so that was always really nice. I definitely made some pretty close friends already. We have like study groups all the time, or we do stuff together outside of the classroom because I feel like that's something that's super important. It can't just be school, school, school. You have to do something for yourself every now and then. And it's even nice when you can do it as a group with your classmates.
Yeah,
And
I absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Fatima.
I was gonna say, I never would have guessed Kendra was an introvert. Like,
I was going to actually say that too. I was like, really? Okay. I mean, I know I have my introvert moments where I have to go home and turtle, but
Yep.
yeah, definitely. I was just going to say that, my classmates are some of, my favorite people. We all graduated in 2015, 2016, and, one of them works here with me and I get to see her every day, which is amazing. But, I stressed to Kendra and Fatima in the first year class, the first day, I was like, these relationships are going to be the most important thing because when you have a bad day or you have something going on, nobody will know what you're going through like your classmates. I still sometimes will, call them up and be like, I had a patient that passed away unexpectedly. I can't figure out what I did. I'm, racking my brain over and over and they'll talk me down, talk me through it. Because like I said, nobody knows what you're going through because they've been there and then they've been in that exact moment. So yeah, I think that is definitely something that the program offers that may not be something we plan, but we foster it.
For sure. Having those people to rely on in what sounds like just, very important moments in growth in veterinary nursing, right? Having those people to rely on in those moments, I'd imagine is key.
Absolutely.
Um, in high school, did you see yourself being in a veterinary nursing program, or going back to the journey? Um, yeah, how did that kind of um, start? I guess.
Yeah, I can touch on that first. So like I said, this is my first year in the vet nursing program, but this is my 4th year at MSU.
Yeah.
So when I graduated high school, I initially thought I was like, I want to go on the pre-vet track. I was like, I want to be a veterinarian because I thought that that was the only option for me. So I joined MSU. I started with I was starting majoring in animal science because that's
Hmm.
a typical major that people pick. But then I realized this wasn't quite what I wanted, and I felt stuck for a moment. I was like, I didn't know what to do. Then
Hmm.
I took like a general uh, vet med course with one of our instructors, Sarah Tomasik, uh, and that really opened my eyes to veterinary nursing. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So I immediately applied for the program. Thankfully, I did get in, and it's been exactly what I wanted since.
Awesome. 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 How different was it from? You said you were studying animal sciences to begin. How different was that program compared to veterinary nursing?
Yeah, so first animal science, it was just doing a lot of agriculture. So it was a lot of like beef management classes. And this was just, I was going to get a bachelor's in that and then eventually apply for like the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine program.
Hmm.
Um, but I cut that short. So I joined the vet nursing program. It's a lot more open. I like that it's a smaller group of classes. Like Sarah Mack said, they cap it at 40 students. So it was a lot more personal. And I also related a lot more to these people, being that they're on the same journey as me.
Hmm.
So I feel like I was a lot more like-minded with my classmates, and that immediately helped me open up more.
For sure. Yeah.
It is
Fatima.
not uncommon for us to have people that do this as a second degree.
Hmm.
So, for example, for my journey, I graduated with a degree in zoology,
Yeah.
pretty similar to Kendra, kind of went down that pre vet path. My 3rd year decided that vet school wasn't for me because you didn't spend any time with the animals. So, what's the point? And so I graduated with a zoology degree, and I was like, what am I going to do? Uh, like being a zookeeper is there's a lot of people that want to do it. It's very hard to get your foot in the door. I could do some sort of education and all that. And then I happened upon vet nursing and I said, why didn't anyone tell me about this earlier? I could have skipped 3 years,
Yep.
gotten out that much faster. So again, that's why I'm here to promote it and help people not do that. But there are some people that you're like, you know what, I want a degree in this, and then I will do vet nursing as a second bachelor's degree, and definitely not uncommon. And also, a lot of people do it as a second career. So they might be. I had a classmate who was a civil engineer. And she's like, I always wanted to do this. This will be my retirement job. And she came in and did that certificate program. So, very similar in training. And just a couple classes she didn't have to take because she didn't need that bachelor's from Michigan State.
Hmm.
And she graduated and she's working in practice and loving it. So definitely multiple options.
Really cool. And the work, I don't know if I asked this directly, but it might have been hinted at. It sounds like a lot of hands-on work, hands-on learning. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Does that look like directly working with animals?
Yeah, so we actually, with our nursing skills course right now, we have been practicing doing physical exams in the vivarium, which is like where they keep some research animals at. So
Hmm.
we've been practicing doing physical exams. We've been practicing doing blood draws. So we do get more hands-on experience with animals, definitely during our second semester in the program.
Really cool.
And then in the second year, in the fall, students will do large animals, so horses, cows, pigs, sheep. I think that's it. Oh, they sneak research animals in there, so rabbits, chickens, and then they also do a surgical anesthesia lab where they actually, do the anesthesia and then assist in the surgery with the surgeons. We have 2 doctors in our program that are doctors, and they also teach. And then in the spring, again, hands-on in the dentistry lab because that's a very important part of veterinary nursing.
Really cool. Um, and so we were talking about, did you see yourself in veterinary nursing in high school? Um, Moving to the future now, where do you see yourself after graduating with a veterinary nursing degree?
Well, I feel like, you know, through all the experience that we're getting, we really do get exposed to so many different parts of the profession and kind of figure out what we want to do. And so, I mean, I think right now where I'm might be headed after graduation, I kind of want to do maybe either like a hospital or clinic setting, mainly with small animal. But I mean, I'm really excited to get exposure to large animal because I think that's another great part of the program where it's like there's some people who have only been around large animal and so they get to do some things with small animals and then like vice versa. So it's really, really cool that we get to experience both and kind of just figure out where we want to go from there.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. In the future, at first, I was like, I want to work in a private practice, and like, I still definitely see myself doing that. But like Fatima said, we're exposed to so many different opportunities in this program, so I don't see research being outside of the capabilities or possibilities for my future. I realize we're in a hematology lab right now, so we're looking at blood smears and stuff like that, and I realize I really enjoy doing that. I think that's super cool. So I don't see like a focused lab work being out of my future. So I think that that's super cool.
Yeah, so we do train our students for large, small, companion wildlife, and when they graduate and become licensed, they will legally be able to practice on all of them. You can specialize as a veterinary nurse or veterinary technician, and there's 18 specialties right now, so it can be dentistry, behavior, surgery. So it's kind of like you would be that next step up, and it kind of supports the education process. And often specialty hospitals will be like, yes, you want to specialize? Absolutely, because that'll only benefit us too. So that is an option if you want to, really focus in on an area. But of course, the clinic setting is absolutely a good option as well.
For sure. Um, so shifting focus here, why do you think it's important to have diversity in veterinary medicine? And what are some small steps that you think can be taken to improve diversity?
So I think that diversity in the field is important because right now it is dominated by white women, which is not a problem. We love seeing women in a dominant field, but we all know that good things and uh, good ideas come from collaborating with a diverse group of people. So I feel like our career will see so many great changes if we, expand our horizons, um, and just invite more people to the table. Uh, and I feel like by doing that, it's either increasing admissions, but we also need people to apply to these careers or be interested in these careers.
My job.
So yeah, exactly. So whether that's like, recruiting people or like, just trying to get the information of the field out there. Cause I feel like just a lot of people, like even I just didn't know that this field was even an option. So I feel like, educating people like early on in high school, trying to get them interested in this career path is one way to do that.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with everything Kendra said. And I think it's also important for people to be able to see themselves in a profession and know that this is something they can do. It's especially like younger kids who want to learn about working with animals, like to know you can do this too. Like there's no limitations as to who can be in this profession. And I think, Sarah's doing a great job with outreach. And I think just maybe even starting off with like doing visits to Michigan State. I think they already do that. Sarah, I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
100%
we've
correct,
had
but
a couple. We've had some students from Ingham County come out, and one of the vistas from CapCan brought students out. So absolutely, yes, we are working with them.
Yeah, I think uh, being able to experience and visit, I know when I was looking at schools, and I've talked about this in podcasts previous, but being able to actually go and experience a place in person to know, you know, how do I fit here? How do I vibe here? Is this something that I can see myself doing? I think that's really important.
Mhm.
Um,
Michigan State was the only place I applied. It was probably not a good plan tactically, but like when I came here, I was like, "This is it. Like there is no other option."
Yeah.
So it's good. The visit really sold it for me. I guess that's the way to say
Hmm.
it.
Definitely. Um, For high schoolers and young adults interested in veterinary nursing, what can they start doing to prepare themselves to enter this field?
I feel like volunteer experiences are always like a really great start to just learn about the profession. I know like when I started doing that, you really get to see like everybody's role. And so that was like my first exposure to veterinary nurses and just seeing everything that they were doing and following them around and just I honestly it was a really, really good start to that. But um, I know, like, personally, when I wanted to learn more, I kind of directly just emailed the office and we set up a meeting and they gave me like a quick rundown of what the program is and what, is expected of students in the program and just expectations. So I feel like that's definitely a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like if you're a high school student, it's hard to find exposure to this field that's like paid because some students want to have jobs that are in the clinics. Like I wanted to be an assistant, so my school offered uh like job site programs where like we could go out to like either a hospital or like a physical therapist office, but I chose, a vet clinic office, so I got to do that while I was in school. Not everyone has opportunities, so whether that's just contacting clinics that are in your area, seeing if you can shadow or be an assistant, see what just try to get yourself exposed. Or I know like some farms like take on people to help them out with like certain tasks. So if you want exposure to large animal, I would try something like that. But also just reaching out to people like Sarah Mack, who
Yeah.
was great with like informing you about the program and like how awesome it is and why you should join.
For sure.
Yeah, so we do require 80 hours of experience upon application. Volunteer work pay will take anything. It just needs to be under the direction of a veterinary technician, veterinary nurse, or doctor of veterinary medicine. So often, if students are unsure, like Kendra and Fatima said, just volunteer at your humane society and work in the hospital with the veterinary staff, and reach out to your vet clinic and said, "Hey, can I come shadow?" A lot of them, that's how they started too. So they'll absolutely foster those relationships. And when you're there, ask questions and say, "Hey, why did you do this?" Or "Hey, why did you become a doctor?" Or "Why did you become a veterinary nurse?" Just to kind of get that information, make sure that it's the path that you want to walk.
Yeah, really good to know. So I'm getting a time crunch at the top of my screen here, so we got just a few minutes left. This will be the last question here. So we wrap every Cap Can Nose podcast up with this question here. So we ask you to state your name and what do you know. So I ask you, Kendra, Fatima, who are you and what do you know?
All right, I can go first. I'm Kendra, and I know that after I graduate from this program, not only will I have a amazing support system of friends and faculty that I can always look back on, but I will also have a very successful field in this career.
Definitely.
My name's Fatima, and I know that veterinary nurses are just incredibly important members of the veterinary team, and hopefully will gain more recognition through amazing programs like the one we have here at Michigan State.
Definitely.
I'm Sarah Mack, and I know that I want to spend every day making a difference in someone or in animals' life.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love all those. Well, I want to say thank you so much again for joining the Cap Can Nose podcast.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
This is
Yeah.
such a unique opportunity. I'm so helpful that you invited us and that we could do this.
Yeah, I'm really happy it was able to work out. So for more information on CapCan, please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit our website at capcan.org. Thank you all for listening to us today, and we will see you again soon.